All right, well, we're going to go ahead and start. It's 3:45. This webinar will be recorded for those who are unable to make it today for whatever reason. And feel free to ask any questions you want. You can either unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can just go ahead and submit a question on the chat bar down there at the bottom. And we'll just go ahead and get started. So we're talking about the 2019 Kansas KidWind Challenges that we will be having throughout the state. And one of the first things we want to do is, of course, is say thank you to all the sponsors that make these events feasible for us to do. You can see them listed there. The Kansas Corporation Commission is one of the largest sponsors, followed by NL, NextEra Energy, Evergy, Wolf Creek Nuclear Operating Corporation, Westar Energy, Village Square Mall in Dodge City, and then the Wolf Creek Young Generation of Nuclear program that they're going to provide a lot of services for us. So without their sponsorship, of course, it would be hard for us to do some of the things we want to do fiscally. And one of those things that we wanted to do from the KidWind Challenge that we conducted in April of 2018 was to provide stipends to teachers that had to hire a substitute teacher for the day while they were participating in the KidWind Challenge, and then also potentially help pay for travel that some of the schools have to expend from their school to attending the challenge. So these regional challenges are new for 2019. As I alluded to earlier, we did conduct a KidWind Challenge in April 2018. That was the, quote, state KidWind Challenge. And even before we hosted that one, we recognized that having the challenge only here in Manhattan, Kansas, really excluded some of the schools that had to travel farther distances to participate. It just wasn't feasible to them. So we came up, even before we finished the KidWind Challenge in April, we decided that we would like to try and do the regional KidWind Challenges to help lower the barrier for schools from the farther corners of the state to participate. So what we'll do is we'll have 4 regional challenges, and then the top 2 teams from each division in those regional challenges will be invited to the National KidWind Challenge, which this year will take place in Houston, Texas, as part of the American Wind Energy Association Conference on May 20th through 23rd, 2019. So here are the dates and locations for those 4 regional challenges. The first, which is coming up quickly, just a month away now, in Southwest Kansas, is going to be at Dodge City at the Village Square Mall on February 7th. And then that will be followed by the one in Manhattan on Valentine's Day, February 14th, here at our building with the engineering extension. It's called the Unger Complex. And then that will be followed by the one in Southeast Kansas at Burlington, the Wolf Creek Nuclear Power Plant there on March 1st. And that is a Friday. That's the only one of the regionals that will not be held on a Thursday. And then finally, the last regional will be on Thursday, March 7th in Oakley at the Northwest Kansas Educational Service Center. And all of those locations are providing the facilities for the regional challenge free of charge. So that's greatly appreciated. And in fact, a couple of those are even providing some meals for the students. So at Wolf Creek Nuclear Power Plant, they're providing lunch as well. And the Village Square Mall is going to provide some mall bucks that the students can use for their lunches. So that's greatly appreciated. Finally, the statewide challenge will be held on Saturday, March 30th, and we did move that to a Saturday because we figured for a statewide challenge, we'd like to get more of the parents of the students involved and able to participate and watch their students compete in the statewide challenge. That's going to be at the Kansas Museum of History in Topeka, Kansas. So, although these are fun, it's not all about fun. It's also about education, of course, and STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math fields related to renewable energy. So by participating in these challenges, the students do discover wind energy technology and careers in STEM fields that are related to renewable energy industry. As part of the competition, they will, of course, design, build, present, and test a functional wind turbine, and all the experimentation that goes along with that. Even when we do wind turbines in engineering extension, there are numerous iterations that we go through to try and produce the most efficient one. And then the students, of course, will also get to compete with peers in a supportive environment. There are three categories to the challenges. The turbine performance testing, which of course is putting the turbine into the wind tunnel to see how much energy it will actually generate. We also have a knowledge quiz, and we do have those broken out into the two divisions, one for the 4th through 8th and another for the 9th through 12th. And then, oh, and by the way, there will be different quizzes for each division between the regionals and the state. So those who are invited to state don't get to take the same quiz over again. They have to have different stuff. And then finally, there's a presentation to a judges panel. We usually have 3 judges listen to the students present their wind turbine, why it was designed the way it was, what kind of problems they ran into, how they overcame those problems, what they liked best. There's all kinds of questions that the judges will ask. And one of the important things for this judges panel is for the teachers or the coaches and mentors to have the students own the project so that they can talk about it. And it's not because, oh, well, the teacher said we should do it this way. So a little bit of insight on behalf of the students is what the judges will be looking for. So what we would like you to do is register as soon as possible. We do have openings in all of the challenges that we know of right now. You can choose the regional event, which makes the most sense for your team. We're not going to restrict that in any way. If you're in Manhattan and you want to go to the Burlington one, we're okay with that. Just register for whichever one makes most sense for your team. You can find the registration links and the location details at our kansasenergyprogram.org/KidWind Challenge. So for the regional challenges, we are going to limit each competition to 16 teams. By the time we schedule the 3 events, the wind turbine performance, the knowledge quiz, and the judges panel, if we have more than 16 teams, it's too long of a day. So we restrict it to those 16 teams. If we do receive more than 16 team registrations, we will contact the schools. And if one school has, for example, 5 or 6 teams that they've registered, we're going to ask them to reduce the number of teams that they bring so that we can have other schools participate. One of the ways that schools do this is by hosting an internal competition and only bringing the top 3 teams in each division. We do have a 3rd wind tunnel that may be available if you hold an internal competition, but you can send a request to borrow that, and if it's available, we can loan it out. But we don't know. We have one available now. So the top 2 teams, as I said before, the top 2 teams in each division, 4th through 8th, and the 9th through 12th will be invited to attend the statewide KidWind Challenge. And then the top 2 teams in each division at the statewide will be invited to attend the national event. So cancellation, we don't really like to consider these, but we also like to have contingencies in case something goes awry. So if at least 2 schools with a total of 5 teams aren't registered for a regional challenge at least 2 weeks ahead of the event, the challenge may be canceled. We're not saying that it will be, but we'll take a look at that. Obviously, there are a number of resources that we commit to these challenges, so we'll look at that rather judiciously and make that case a couple of weeks before the event. If that does happen, the school can choose to switch to a different regional event, and we don't want to certainly we don't want to reduce participation. We do not have a solid policy regarding cancellation due to weather. We will take a look at those prior to each event and make a decision sooner, a little bit closer to the actual challenge. But consider we are driving from Manhattan, Kansas, typically in a K-State cargo van, which, they're all roadworthy, of course, but some of them are a little bit more difficult to drive, and particularly in high winds or snow. So we'll take a look at that and make a determination closer to the event. So there are some basic rules that the teams have to follow. These are located at kidwindchallenge.org. That bottom bullet there, these are current rules available as of 2018. They're free to download, so there's no cost. The KidWind turbine generator is the only required part of the turbine that you design. You can design your own generator if you wish. Otherwise, you can use the kits that Vernier provides on their website. And I mean, it can just be a total kit, or you can make your own. The thing that you have to do is you do have to design your own blades. You can't use pre-manufactured blades from any source. And each team must have its own turbine and base. So even if you have 3 teams from the same school, you cannot switch out the base from one team to another. So it has to be a complete turbine for them. We do have weights available to hold the turbine steady, so you don't have to bring those unless you just want to. We'll make those available. We'll also have a limited amount of supplies available if you need to make some repairs. And we did just recently, we are purchasing a soldering iron if you have to make repairs there also. And then finally, each team must have a coach. The coaches are responsible for registering the team and managing the process. We will have volunteers that will escort the teams from one area to the next. So we'll maintain that flow. But for instance, when the student teams are in the setup area, we're not going to be responsible for them. And the coaches need to manage the students while they're not performing in one of the areas. We do, so this is the equipment that we will be using. We have the competition grade KidWind tunnel. We will have 2 of those available for each of the challenges. One will be the performance testing one, the official performance testing one. We'll have the other one set up in the setup area so that student teams can practice and make sure that their turbines don't fall apart. And have a catastrophic failure when it's in the performance testing one. One important note, we've had a couple of student teams be surprised. They usually, when they test their wind turbines, they test it in front of a fan that is pushing the air onto the turbine, but these actually suck the air, pull the air through the tunnel instead of pushing the air out. So sometimes the turbines will perform differently depending on that wind flow. So that's something you should realize. We'll also use an energy sensor. We use the Vernier Go Direct energy sensor, which measures energy output over time and is used in conjunction with the Vernier Logger Pro software. And then finally, we also have an anemometer, which of course measures the wind speed, and we keep track of all those in the spreadsheet that we do during the challenge. We do have a lending library, so we don't just do the KidWind Challenges. We also do energy education on a number of other different topics, primarily energy efficiency. So we have this equipment that's available to schools for use. In fact, Yvonne will be traveling to Chanute tomorrow to loan a school the bikes and the light board that you see up in the upper left corner there, the picture there. We also have infrared cameras. We have the hand cranks that you see up there. And then, you know, number of data loggers, which is the bottom right picture. And the data loggers are cool if you're doing some energy curricula and you want to have the students actually gather some data. These are just instruments that you can put in very inconspicuous areas of the school. It just sits there and records data at the intervals that you set. It can do anywhere from 1 second to 5 minutes to, I believe, hourly and even longer. And makes some pretty nice graphs that you can then use to teach the students about energy efficiency. We do have some restrictions on the availability of the equipment required for the regional and state KidWind Challenges, obviously. So we do have that third wind tunnel. We have one school that has requested that for the 30th and 31st of January. It would still be available for other dates other than those. And then we're going to conclude with our breakout room. We did design a breakout room on energy efficiency, which is also available for loan. And by the way, there's no cost for any of this equipment. We provide it free of charge. And that's really through the energy education services provided by the Kansas Corporation Commission. They pay us to do this energy education, so we don't charge anything to the schools. And then we have a time limit of 1 hour set for the energy efficiency breakout room. We've had all the teams that have done it so far have passed except for one. And right now, I think the record is at 46 minutes getting out of the final room. So we do have another breakout room in its design phase. We've conceptualized it. We just have to put it together. That will also be on energy efficiency, but it will deal with energy efficiency audits and the equipment that is used to conduct those audits. So here's the contact information for the Kansas Energy Program. You have myself, Yvonne Cook, and then Brian Hamill. And you can go to our kansasenergyprogram.org or email us at ksenergyprog@ksu.edu or give us a call. And that's all the information we have right now. I will say, just to finish it up and to go back to the KidWind Challenge, for some of you, so these, all the regional ones, with the exception of Manhattan, the Burlington, Oakley, and Dodge City venues are all completely new. So what we're trying to do is take baby steps in this program. We want to get established in the Western areas. So I recognize that the first one that's coming up in Dodge City is coming up very quickly. I want to emphasize that these turbines really don't take a lot of time to design and build. We actually taught a STEM class during the summer where we had the students put together a turbine in the morning session. So it was less than 2 hours, and they were testing out different designs for the blades. So it really doesn't take that much time. You can take a lot more time, of course. But what we're encouraging schools to do is go ahead and register, go ahead and get a turban in, see what it's like, and then, as we do, improve upon that for next year, get more students involved, more teams involved, and we'll go from there. So I did notice we had a question about the number of members that can be on each team. We recommend 3 to 5. The official rules really don't have a limit on the number of students that can be on a team, but as you well know, the more you have on there, the higher the chance that there will be a good portion of the team members that aren't really contributing much. So we recommend teams of 3 to 5.
And it can be a team of 1 as well.
Sure. Yeah. And again, I want to emphasize that these are not just school-related teams teams of students that can participate. Any after-school, any student team. So it can be homeschool, it can be public school, Boys and Girls Club, Boys and Girl Scouts, 4-H, any team of students.
And that's what the next question was about.
And I guess, yes, so community groups can participate as well. and you're welcome for the shout out. We're really excited at increasing the diversity, not just in terms of the geographical region we represent, but also in the types of student teams that we get participating in these programs. So if there aren't any more questions, we will go ahead and end this webinar for now. Again, feel free to call us anytime you have a question or email us, and we will get back to you. And please help promote this to any other student organizations you think would be willing to participate. We're really wanting to get some more teams for the Dodge City site. Oh, and one of the other things that I should emphasize also, each one of these challenges requires a number of volunteers that help escort the teams from one place to another, help with registration, help putting snacks and food out for lunch. So if you do have an opportunity to volunteer, so maybe you're a little unsure about providing a team this year, but if you would like to volunteer and see what the challenge is like, then by all means go ahead and contact us and let us know if you're willing to do that. So we do have a question about whether we have enough teams right now for the Burlington. I would say we probably do have enough to hold one. We probably have additional slots for teams, so we would certainly like more teams. One of the problems we're having right now is that our registration is actually tied up in the National KidWind program, and we haven't had an update on the registration in the last week. So the registration numbers are somewhat unknown to us right now.
Yeah, we really haven't had any updates. Yes.
Yes. And did we have another one?
Nope, that was it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and look forward to seeing you at one of the challenges.
And we'll post this online, this webinar, as well after this.
Thank you.